Also breaking tonight, for the fourth time since the Clinton email scandal broke, the government has dumped a big load of news on a holiday weekend, only serving to reinforce the criticism that there's something they're hiding. Earlier today, the FBI released a summary of its July interview with Hillary Clinton involving allegations that classified information was stored on her personal server, potentially putting national security at risk. You'll recall, of course, the FBI did not recommend charges against the former Secretary of State. The Clinton campaign has been quick to react, saying that her use of the private account was a clear mistake, but the documents show that there was no basis to move forward with a legal case against her. Her critics don't agree. Donald Trump saying he doesn't understand how she was able to get away from being prosecuted. What's more, the documents raise further questions about Mrs. Clinton's repeated claims that she handed over everything that was work-related.
I responded right away and provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related. We went through a thorough process to identify all of my work-related emails and deliver them to the State Department. At the end, I chose not to keep my private, personal emails. Emails about planning Chelsea's wedding or my mother's funeral arrangements, condolence notes to friends, as well as yoga routines, family vacations, the other things you typically find in inboxes.
I think that anybody who's actually looked at this has concluded that I have now put out all of my emails.
Okay, we now know that's not the whole truth, and that the FBI did, in fact, recover more than 17,000 emails that were never handed over. Those emails are said to be a mix of both work-related and personal messages. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge reports from Washington on what else we've learned. Catherine?
This 11-page FBI summary of Hillary Clinton's July 2nd interview shows the former Secretary of State could not remember key details about her emails more than 24 times. Clinton told FBI agents she could not recall when she got a security clearance. Clinton could not recall briefings or training on the handling of classified information. And Clinton could not recall specialized training for the U.S. government's most closely held secrets, known as special access programs. Critics aren't buying it.
This is a case of special rules. You know, Mrs. Clinton operates under one set of rules, and the rest of the federal government operates under another set.
The same week Clinton became Secretary of State, she also signed 2 non-disclosure agreements where she said she knew the rules and that violating these agreements could result in criminal charges. Clinton told the FBI that she could not recall the details surrounding the 2009 setup of the ClintonEmail.com domain, whose servers were housed at their Chappaqua, New York home. Clinton said the personal email account was a matter of convenience. FBI agents do not appear to press Clinton on the issue, further reinforcing Republican criticism of the FBI director and the investigation.
My takeaway was this. Remember, James Comey said she was not indicted because he didn't have sufficient evidence on the issue of intent. She said she did it for convenience, but I didn't see the follow-up questions in the interview I read.
The heavily redacted FBI summary also shows Clinton was questioned about the 22 top-secret emails, too damaging to release for national security reasons, which include the drone campaign as well as human spying for CIA programs. A separate document providing a case timeline shows 13 of Clinton's mobile devices are unaccounted for, and without a forensic examination, the FBI couldn't say whether they were hacked. Shannon?
All right, Catherine Herridge, thank you so much. Joining us now, David Wall, an attorney and Trump supporter, Alan Colmes, host of The Alan Colmes Show on Fox News Radio, and Guy Benson, townhall.com political editor and a Fox News contributor. All right, Alan, I'll start with you, because we have many new revelations here, and they all point to one thing. Either Mrs. Clinton was not being honest, or, as some would say, her critics would say, she is incompetent. She's somebody who wants to be the commander-in-chief, will be handling the most top-secret information in the world. And even though FBI Director James Comey said anybody who is a reasonable person should have known better than exactly what she did.
Well, I don't agree with those either-ors. Number one, the FBI did not indict or did not recommend indictment. Number two,
he did say that she did an extremely careless job with this, and that any reasonable person, she was a cabinet secretary, should have known better.
Two is that we have no new information here. This is what the FBI already did. They already looked at all.
I didn't know that she had 13 devices plus 5 iPads.
The FBI already, but this is everything the FBI already knew, and the FBI decided there was not enough here, that there's no precedent for going forward. This is basically a political witch hunt at this point. We just saw Trey Gowdy, who had her in front of him for 11 hours and did a horrible job if he's trying to get anything out of her that's indictable. He couldn't come up with anything, and so now he's trying to save grace. I mean, she stood before an 11-hour witch hunt because they probably think she's a witch. And we keep going over this old ground over and over and over again.
But since she testified, Alan, there have been new revelations. They come all the time.
What new revelation?
17,000 emails that we didn't know about before.
It's not new to the FBI. The FBI knew everything that came out today, and they decided
but new to Trey Gowdy. He wouldn't have known that when he was questioning her.
But the FBI, having known all this, decided there was no reason to go forward. This is everything James Comey, a Republican, knew already, and now all of a sudden conservatives are acting as if suddenly all this new information has come out, and that's it. It's much ado about nothing.
Us. It was new to the congressional. It would be new to Trey Gowdy and the other people.
Congress had 11 hours to question her, and they didn't come up with anything.
But they didn't have the information they have now.
11 hours. They didn't come up with anything.
David, you're an attorney, and Alan makes a great point. The FBI had all of this. James Comey, the FBI director, has been a very respected inspector and prosecutor and person over the years. He said not enough to indict, so shouldn't that be the end of it?
When in doubt, Shannon, plead ignorance. I mean, Hillary Clinton has two major allies. She has the Department of Justice, Barack Obama's Department of Justice on her side, and she's got the mainstream media completely in the tank for her. She can't remember a darn thing about those top secret or classified emails. So what does she do? She makes sure she'll never be able to remember anything by scrubbing her illegal server with the bleach bit. This whole scandal, and it's growing and will continue to grow in the coming weeks, makes Watergate look like a parking ticket.
You wish it were growing.
Listen up, Alan.
You wish it were growing.
This is so out of control right now that the American voter, in 1 month from now, the American voter is going to understand, wait a second, Alan, whether or not you want somebody who's so rife with corruption that she can't do a single thing without violating the law.
Guy is waiting
Donald
patiently.
Trump, who has no history of corruption and a lot of great ideas.
Donald Trump has no history of corruption.
I know that Alan wants to jump on that red meat, but let's bring in Guy here to give us a little bit of an outside look at what you think. I mean, looking at what we learned today, because it's new information to us, but as Alan says, it's not to the FBI, and they decided no prosecution.
There are two significant newsworthy revelations in the report that we saw today, which did not coincidentally drop on a Friday before a long weekend. The first of which is that Mrs. Clinton used at least 13 mobile devices during her time at the State Department. Recall that her initial excuse for setting up the private server was that she wanted the convenience of one device. She used 13. Now, she was warned personally and explicitly on 2 occasions that doing official classified business on unsecure BlackBerries was putting sensitive information at risk. She continued to do so anyway. And now we find out today that several, an undisclosed number, but several of those BlackBerries were lost. She lost these cell phones filled with classified information that she wasn't supposed to be using in the first place. That is breathtaking, 1. And 2, this is important as well. With the timeline that is pieced together in the documents that we saw today, Hillary Clinton's team began to purge and scrub her email archives, which were under congressional subpoena at the time, a few weeks after the New York Times first reported the existence of her server. If that is not obstruction or intent, I don't know what is.
Alan, it was described as a blank moment that somebody realized the New York Times was reporting publicly on this stuff. And that's when we got the bleach bit, and that's when we got the deletion of information that could have been relevant. It's amazing to me
that Guy seems to know more than James Comey, because James Comey said there was no, if I may finish, said there was no obstruction and there was no intent, unlike with David Petraeus, for example, where there was intent and there was obstruction. So if the FBI director, who did an investigation and said she did not lie to the FBI and could not find intent, which is the basis upon which he decided he would not recommend an indictment, but I guess you know more, Guy.
Okay, very quickly, David, I want to give David a final word here.
Shannon, hold on a second.
I want to give David a final word here and just ask, if Alan, Guy, you or me had done the stuff that's been outlined by James Comey, do you think we would have gotten a pass?
You would be in jail calling my office for a bail hearing. There is no question about it. Hillary Clinton's name is Clinton. That's why she's not in jail.
Well,
the Department of Justice has her back. It's Barack Obama's Department of Justice. He formally endorsed her as president of the United States. Give me a break. That's what this boils down to. But we haven't seen the end of it.
I'm not sure I'd be calling your office as my attorney, but thank you for the offer in case I ever need one.
Alan, you could also call me. I passed the bar.
That call I would make. I would call Shannon. There's no
all right,
question
David, Alan, Guy, great to see you all on a Friday night.
Thank you, Shannon.
All right, if any of them needed bail money, they can call. Up next, new setbacks for our current commander-in-chief, how a sluggish economy, a sinking Obamacare, and new revelations surrounding the nuclear deal with Iran are affecting the 2016 race. Charles Krauthammer is here with how all of that could impact Hillary Clinton's chances in November. Plus, Chris Steyerwalt and Rich Lowry are here on breaking details from what really happened after Donald Trump's meeting with the Mexican president. Ooh, it's getting more spicy. That's just ahead.
Look, we're the only ones that know what's going on with illegal immigration. Hillary Clinton has no clue. Not at all. And doesn't care.